Hi guys, how are you doing? This is Sebastian from techcentury and welcome to my first look at the iPhone 6 and also a quick Q&A session in regards to the phone. So let's get started after the intro. The iPhone 6 launched a couple of days ago and I'm sure that you guys have seen tons and tons of unboxing videos already here on YouTube, so I'll just cut the unboxing short and show you the box as well as everything that we see in there. Now I have to say that I wasn't really sure if I should buy this phone or not, because especially if you buy it without a contract, the 64GB version that I have right here retails for around 800 euros in Germany, so that's an insane price. So I really didn't want to spend that much money, but fortunately I found a very good deal and now I'm very happy with my purchase. Now the first impression just of the phone itself once you take it out of the box is pretty amazing. I mean, I've currently used, or up to now I've used an HTC One M7, which is already very nice in terms of build quality and also of course materials with the all aluminum design. But I have to say this iPhone 6 just feels impressive in the hand. And so it was a very positive overall first impressions here of this iPhone 6 just in terms of hardware. Of course in the box we then also get the usual stuff like the SIM ejector tool, also then some quick getting started guides in different languages, and then also of course the famous Apple stickers in white. Now last but not least we get the EarPods, which at least in my opinion are probably the worst headphones that you can get. And so I'm not really too happy about that, because at least for me they are very uncomfortable, especially after a longer period of time when you actually wear them. So for me it's something that will probably stay in the box forever, and I would have actually preferred some Beats in-ear headphones in the box instead, especially since Apple bought Beats. So yeah, EarPods, not really too excited about that. And then of course we also have the USB power adapter, which is country specific of course. So here we have the German version or European version. Last but not least, there's the lightning cable, which on one side I really like because it's reversible and therefore especially at night it's great to plug in your phone. But then on the other side I really got used to micro USB, especially because I can basically charge my tablet, my smartphone, and even my Chromebook with this cable. So it's kind of a shame that it's a different standard, but again the reversible is something that I really enjoy about the lightning cable, and at least for syncing you don't even have to use it anymore, so just for charging it's more than fine. Now if we then just get into the first impressions, again the hardware is very impressive. Now I have to say that I'm bothered by the camera that's sticking out on the back, and while I think it's great to have a thin phone, I would have definitely preferred to have a bigger battery instead. So maybe it would have been a better idea for Apple to just make the phone a little bit thicker, maybe as thick as the iPhone 5, and then actually increase the battery capacity and also just don't have the camera stick out. Because of course a great camera is very important and also one of the major reasons why I actually purchased the iPhone 6 and why I'm not happy with my HTC One. But then again, I don't really like the fact that the camera is sticking out here on the iPhone 6. But besides that, I really like the design. I'm not really bothered by these antenna lines on the back. I think especially in this space gray version that I have right here, it actually isn't too bad. And coming from HTC One M7 in black, that also has basically the same kind of like plastic stripes in order to get reception, I'm certainly not bothered at all. And I really like the design besides the protruding camera. So overall, again, design very impressed. Also the display, I mean, I have to say it's not really the highest resolution display that I've seen. I mean, even the HTC One M7 already has a 1920 by 1080 display that you can actually only find on the iPhone 6 Plus. But still, this display here on the iPhone 6, just from the first impressions, looks absolutely amazing. It's laminated to the glass, so you don't have a gap between the glass and the display itself. And just the color reproduction and also the brightness just seem insanely good, and I'm very impressed so far. And especially looking at the resolution, I'm not quite sure what exact resolution it is right now, but just looking at the numbers, I would have never expected the screen to look as good as it does here on the iPhone 6. So that's a big bonus. Now furthermore, when we come to speed, just from the first impressions, it feels very fast. But then again, it's a new phone out of the box, so it definitely shouldn't feel slow. But also the benchmarks have shown that the A8 is a solid upgrade over the A7 of the iPhone 5S. but so far I actually have absolutely no complaints. I mean, I don't have any scuffs on the phone. It works absolutely flawless. I don't have any dead pixels. I don't have any bending so far. So I'm pretty happy with the iPhone 6, and basically the minute that I took it out of the box, I forgot about all my regrets that I might have had about picking it up and giving in to the hype. So I'm very happy, and now I think it's time to actually get over to the Q&A session. And I actually asked you guys yesterday and also today on Twitter to send me your questions about the iPhone 6. So let's get started with the first one. So at Mr. CJ Pro asks, should you upgrade if you already have an iPhone 5S or 5C? Now I personally have to say I'm coming from an Android device, as you probably know, the HTC One M7. But coming from iPhone 5S, I wouldn't really see any necessity for the upgrade. Camera is still 8 megapixel, even though it is improved. Screen is slightly bigger, especially on the just regular iPhone 6. But I certainly don't see a reason why I would have to upgrade if you're on the iPhone 5S already. And I also have to say that I think it's not really the worst decision to actually just buy the S phones, if you know what I mean. So if you buy, for example, the 3GS, the 4S, the 5S, and then probably next year the 6S, I think that's actually a very good upgrade cycle, because at least then the major bugs should already be removed. And so I think that's a good strategy to go, and I don't think that you have to get the iPhone 6 now when you already have the 5S. Now, in terms of the 5C, I think it's a little bit different, because the 5C is basically a repackaged iPhone 5. So it's basically almost 2 years old now. And I would definitely think that the iPhone 6 is a solid upgrade over it. But then again, if the iPhone 5C does everything that you want it to do, and if it isn't too slow, or if you don't really need the better camera, then I think the iPhone 5C is still a fantastic smartphone that you can't really go wrong with, especially if you picked it up at a great price. So the next question comes from Paul Mitchell at PaulMoto67. Is it worth the outrageous price? And that's a very tough question. I mean, for those of you that have actually watched my live stream after the event of the iPhone 6, you would have seen my reaction actually to the prices here in Europe. $799 for the 64GB regular iPhone 6. I think it's absolutely insane in terms of an unlocked price, especially because we know that Apple is pretty stable in terms of price. So the iPhones don't really lose a lot of value in the next couple of months after the launch. So it will likely stick around the 700 euros to 799 euros price range, which is just absolutely expensive, especially also for 64 gigs of storage. So I think if you buy this phone outright, it's way too expensive, and even though it's very nice so far, I have to say it's probably not worth the price. If you can get it subsidized on a good contract where you actually pay very little for the phone, then I think it's definitely worth it. But then again, it also depends on what phone you're coming from. Again, maybe the iPhone 5C or 5S, or maybe also another Android phone. So it's tough to really say if it's worth the price. It's certainly a steep price that's tough to justify, and I just feel the exact same way. So it's a really difficult question to answer, so I might be able to actually answer this in the couple of weeks when I'll post my full review of the iPhone 6. The next question comes from Matti Lassila, so sorry if I pronounced the name wrong, at MSI_FHD, and he asks, is it worth the upgrade from the 5S, and how does the camera compare to the competition? So I think the first part of the question with the upgrade from the iPhone 5S I already answered. Now in terms of camera, I honestly can't answer the question quite yet, because I actually just took the phone out of the box a couple of hours ago and just didn't have enough time to test the camera. And so it's difficult for me to judge that. And then again, I'm coming from an HTC One M7, which certainly isn't famous for the best camera. The next question comes from Pablo Punk at Pablo Punk on Twitter. How it is to use on a table flat with that weird camera. And I have to say that I'm not a big fan of the protruding camera once again. And especially if you put it just flat on a table, it's weird to have just this protruding camera, especially because it's on one side. So for me, the solution will basically be to just get a case so that the camera hump will basically go away. So yeah, it's not the best to use on a table, and I'm personally always worried about just damaging the camera if it sticks out like that here on the iPhone 6. And even though I'm sure that Apple has put a lot of effort into really like reinforcing the camera module so that you don't damage it with using it on your table, for example, yeah, it's just weird, and I'm personally just going to solve this with a case. The next question comes from Job @jobhabraken, sorry again for pronouncing the name wrong. Question number 1, how does the iPhone 6 size compare to other flagship smartphones? And I basically only have the HTC One M7 here, which is a little bit smaller than the HTC One M8. But in terms of size, it's pretty comparable. It's definitely a lot thinner and also feels a lot lighter in the hand. But then again, the size overall, because it also has the same diagonal of 4.7 inches, is actually very comparable. Of course, you don't have the amazing boom sound speakers here on the iPhone 6, but the home button with Touch ID takes up quite a lot of space. So it's comparable to the HTC One M7 in terms of footprint. Now his second question is, will you protect your iPhone with a case and why? And yes, I'll definitely do so. Actually, I already ordered 2 cases that should be arriving in the next couple of days. So tomorrow there should be arriving the Spigen Neo Hybrid case for the iPhone 6, which I'm very excited about. I think the design looks pretty amazing. And then also I think no later than Saturday there should actually be the WERBUNG case. I honestly don't know how to actually pronounce the name of this case, but this is actually a case that I already used on my iPhone 5 a couple of years back, and I just had very good experiences with it. And actually to this day my father is using it now, and he always abuses his phone a lot because he uses it every day for work intensively, and it just keeps the phone well protected. So I'm really looking forward to trying this case also here on the iPhone 6. Now in terms of answering the question why I buy the case, it's just to protect the phone, because for me the phone is so expensive that I can't just rock it naked and then see, oh well, if it drops then I'll just buy another one, or I'll just get the screen replaced for 300 or 400 bucks. I could pay that, but I'm just not willing to do that. And I know it's a shame that I basically like hide the really nice design of the iPhone 6. But for me, it's better to actually have the case and spend like 20, 30, maybe even 40 bucks on a case, and then prevent actually getting a damaged screen or a cracked screen or whatever. So yeah, that's just basically the reason for it. I actually used the LG G2 for 2 days without a case, and the first day it dropped down and the screen was shattered, and I paid like 200 bucks to get it repaired. So I'm not willing to do that again, and so for me I'm always rocking a case, even though I rarely drop my phones. But for me it's just better to be safe than be sorry. So yeah, that's just my take on that. And then the last question comes from Adel Mandani @Q8WII on Twitter, and he asks, is there a difference between region models on the iPhone 6? And as far as I'm aware, there is no difference except the power adapter that you actually get it delivered with. So there should be no difference in terms of hardware, unlike for example Samsung smartphones, where you for example get a Qualcomm quad-core processor chip in one region and then you get an Exynos octa-core in another region. The iPhone 6 should be the same everywhere. And so I think that's a pretty solid and easy answer to this question, and also a great one to just end this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this quick first look, unboxing and Q&A about the iPhone 6. I hope that the video quality isn't too bad. It's already pretty dark outside and late here after work. So again, I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Of course, if you have any further questions about the iPhone 6, then just leave them in the comment section down below and I'll be there to answer your question. And besides that, just let me know what you want to see about the iPhone 6 in the future in the comment section down below again. And then I really hope to see you next time. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for many more tech videos. Also, of course, more coverage of the iPhone 6. And also like this video if you enjoyed it, or give it a dislike if you didn't. Thanks, see you next time.